Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Minecraft update video. This is 23W16A for Minecraft 1.20, and the big news is here. Pottery shards are no longer a thing. Yes, that's right, they shall hence be forth known as sherds. All of these have been renamed. This surprised me greatly at first, but it turns out this is a legitimate archaeology term. Yes, I looked this up on the internet. That means it's 100% true, right? That's how that works, I think. But yes, this is actually a correct term for fragments of pottery. And before we get to the big stuff, let's go through a few smaller changes, like the icon for the snapshot is now going to be a dirt block. That appears in both the taskbar and the icon for the game's window. And it is set to be a grass block for full and proper releases of the game, whereas down here you might have seen it's currently a crafting bench. So I think the grass block icon change will come when 1.20 is released. In the Minecraft launcher, there's now this fancy green outline around boxes, and it's very noticeable if you go ahead and edit an installation. When you select one of these, it turns white. And you probably won't miss it, but the April Fool's Fires joke has been removed from the launcher. Now next up, we may have a big performance fix for feeling lag spikes when you go over chunk boundaries, something that you might have experienced in your Minecraft world. In the bug fixes, there are these 4 bugs related to lag spikes at chunk borders, and it's related to light maps. This is interesting because I use a mod in 1.19.4 that deals with this exact issue. It's called Forget Me Chunk, and it prevents light map unloads on the client. And here is an example that I recorded on the Hermitcraft server of this issue in action. You can reliably walk over this chunk boundary and get a noticeable lag spike. I believe this is patched in this version of Minecraft. So of course I wanted to take a backup of the Hermitcraft Season 9 world, come to the same spot in this snapshot and actually flying here and flying around in this area. The lag spikes are gone. I think they finally fixed this issue, which is just terrific. Moving on to the Sniffer mob. It can now be lured using the torchflower seeds, so when I hold some, it comes towards me. The Sniffer will now fit inside a minecart, which it couldn't previously do. Come on, buddy. Don't be shy. There we go. Sniffer in a minecart. And interestingly, I think its entire hitbox is bigger than that of the minecart. They will also now be able to dig for seeds in mud, something they previously could not do. And their name tag height value has been raised so that you can actually see it above. Wait, it just disappeared. Is that the regular view distance for a name tag right there? Anyway, it's been... Wait, it's gone again. I think this might still be a little bit bugged out, but it's been raised. And certainly made the point with the old subscribe plug, right? So if you click that button, thank you for doing so. And the last 3 videos I made didn't get pushed out to as many people. If you want to see some redstone engineering in Hermitcraft, I've got 2 episodes of that for you. And if you're curious about the April Fool's update and how it was put together, we have a video on that too. Maybe have a watch after you're done with this video. But next up, some changes to villagers. There are 2 new tag lists that change their behavior. Villager plantable seeds represents the seeds that villagers can farm, and maintains farmland are a list of items which, when harvested, will keep the farmland there instead of turning it into dirt. And here is that list. Any of these items, when harvested, won't turn the farmland into dirt. You'll notice that the pitcher crop and torchflower is here, and they are also featured in villager plantable seeds. This means that the farming villager can both do the torchflower seeds and the pitcher pods and plant them in your village. I should also mention that the hitbox shape for the pitcher plant has been changed for each stage of its growth, and that this plant and the torch flower are now flammable. They used to be flame resistant, so they can be set on fire when the flames spread. Next up, the Sculk sensor, and you might detect a change. Here on the left side of the screen, we're in the latest snapshot, and the previous one is on the other side. You can see a clear difference to its shape. Yes, the calibrated Sculk sensor's texture and shape has been updated to better match the amethyst cluster, both in saturation and the size of the amethyst cluster in the middle. The way in which these blocks work has also been subtly adjusted for better performance. I believe that these changes are related to the breaking of contraptions when chunks are loaded and unloaded. Of course, the Sculk sensor can have multiple states, and as the game loads and unloads them, they can break contraptions. But this breaking should no longer occur in this latest snapshot. Another recent change to the Sculk sensor was its ability to now chain frequencies using the Amethyst block. This now extends to a Sculk Shrieker. Now this means that it can be activated at a distance. Aha, there we go, we can see its particle effects. This essentially means you can now summon the Warden using a Sculk Shrieker from even further away. The calibrated Sculk sensor also now glows when it's activating, emitting a tiny amount of light. And the calibrated Sculk sensor can now receive a signal strength through a block, which means it can work like normal when it's got blocks on all sides around it, allowing you to waterlog it. Okay, next up we have the trail structures, part of archaeology for Minecraft 1.20. And behind me you'll see some of the structures that we generated in a previous snapshot video. We also got to see all of the individual structures in that video too. And the reason I'm telling you this is because there's been a ton of tweaks and changes, and this video won't be quite as comprehensive as the last time. Let's start by placing a brand new trail rune structure. And straight away you might get a sense that this looks a little bigger than the previous ones, and you'll also notice a change of materials. As you can see, sand is no longer a part of these, it's just going to be dirt, coarse dirt, gravel, and of course suspicious gravel. And these now have two types of loot tables, which I don't think you can tell which one it has just by looking at it using F3. So when you use the brush, you're going to get loot from one of two categories. We have common loot and rare loot. So if you find common suspicious gravel, it's only these items, and if you get a rare one, it'll be one of these that you draw out. And those are the easier changes for me to show and demonstrate to you. What's a lot trickier is that they've reworked lots of the structures based on community feedback and added more structure variants. And this was done with a lot of file name changes and also changes to their content. That just made it kind of tricky to track every single change. But here's what we're going to do. We will try and get more of a feel through this through generating structures in the world and using an external tool too. First of all, my biggest takeaway from looking at these is that the structures generally feel bigger, and it feels like more of them have been linked together with a familiar pattern. You have the tower in the middle, big rooms on the side, then a path leading out with several other rooms attached to it. And that is quite similar to what we had before, but the shapes of these rooms feel inherently different, a little bulkier, maybe circular around the edges, and there are less of these very small rooms like these two here. So to get a better feel for this, we're going to use this tool made by Jochen Jacobs. And yes, it's very likely that I'm absolutely butchering their name. I do apologize. This is a structure generator. And every time we click trail runes over here on the left, it's going to generate a new structure in the area to the right. The issue with this though is that it tends to generate them in one of 4 different directions. So sometimes it's not quite as clear what you're looking at, but you can of course go ahead, move the camera, rotate around, all that good stuff. And if we have a look at it from this top down view, you can see that it's pretty much doing the same thing whatever direction it generates in. And so to me these structures do tend to look a little more interesting and larger in general. What I will probably do in the next snapshot video is get this world updated with the new and changed structures side by side with the old ones, so we can kind of glean where the biggest differences are. But for now we're going to blitz through the technical changes, and for all you map makers and command tinkerers, the data pack version has now been updated to 14, and this is because of the display entity being updated. If you need the technical info, this article is linked down below. There is also a return command, which I'm told is going to be a godsend for map makers, and not being a programmer, I didn't really understand this, but it's all explained. One thing I did understand is that you can now trigger an advancement using a crafted recipe. So that covers this snapshot. Was there anything I missed? Please do let me know with a comment down below. And if you're looking for something else to watch, those episodes of Hermitcraft and that behind the scenes on April Fool's snapshot is waiting for you. So go check them out if you haven't done so already. That's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Bye bye.